So my mother-in-law wins the award for properly using her mittens. We're gonna try and keep the cuff. Maybe I should go for the whole cuff. I don't know, I think I'm just gonna cut back to here or it will be too long. Anyway, both of them are dirty and there's holes in the thumb. I don't know that I've cut knitting very much before. I have the right number of stitches. I have the same number of stitches as my next pattern. This is meant to be. Okay, so there we go. Not bad, right? Not bad. Now I have Woolstock Light, which, yeah, 100% Highland wool. Hopefully, if I have enough to make them double thick. Maybe I'll see if I can twine the pattern that I'm doing. I don't know. The alpaca is making my nose run, so I need to deal with that, and I need to wind this. I have 2 of these. I need to wind these up.
Okay, so at this point, we're gonna pause all the stuff I filmed because I never explained what pattern I was using or what I was actually doing. So I found some free sport weight knitting patterns on Ravelry. I picked out a couple front runners and I sent photos to my mother-in-law and she picked this one. And then I found out it was in Finnish. So if you go to this page, which I will link, this K-Sit pattern by Witi Nusainen, I don't actually know how to speak Finnish, and so I just Google translated the web page, except the charts were photos, obviously. So I wasn't able to actually look at the read the bobble part of it. So for the bobbles, I did the bobbles from my twined mitten pattern. That was how I made the cuffs like 5 years ago, and that pattern was twined mittens by Masha's Maschen, and I can share my twined mitten pattern as well, although I will say those bobbles kind of make a hole, as you'll see later. They're not the best bobble, so I really should have done a different one, but it was free and I thought it would be nice if they matched the cuff. So this is the pattern that I'm using, except I also double knit. At the same time, I double knit an inside layer of the mitten that was just stockinette, and that I did myself, and I added that to the pattern. So yeah.
Okay, I'm finally done with the top of the mitten. And so I've separated like the front needle. I mean, I think I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah, I'm supposed to pull the yarn through the 12 stitches at the top. So I take the front stitch to the front and the back stitch to the back, and I just do that all the way across. So I'm separating the double knitting into the front knit and the back knit. You could like just sew them all together somehow, but I think this is the easiest way not to have any gaps or any weirdness in the tip of it. Back, front, back. Okay. So all I have to do is this other thumb, which I'm hoping to finish tonight, and then tomorrow I'm gonna try, because these are obviously like huge, and the way that the bobbles are unfortunately created a lot of holes. So I am planning on felting them only a little bit, and because I don't want to felt the cuff, I'm gonna have to felt them by hand, which I've never done before. I do actually have to, I'm gonna pick up on the inside, because right now this cuff is only a single layer, and to make the whole thing thicker, I'm gonna pick up on the inside of the cuff where I started double knitting, because I have some leftover yarn. So I'm gonna try and use up some of my yarn, or maybe almost all of my yarn, I mean, we'll see, and knit the cuff. I'm gonna go down a needle size for that, and then I'm not gonna felt the cuffs. I'm just gonna hand felt the other part of the mitten that's like too big. Look at all this progress. The end is in sight. Oh, they are a similar size. They're a close enough size. I couldn't figure out what I did with the first one, and so I was worried that I started the decreases on the second one a little bit late, but it ended up being totally fine. These are gonna be so warm. You know, maybe I don't need to felt them that much, but I'm gonna felt them a little bit. So now I have moved on right away to doing the thumb, and how I'm doing that is when I put the stitches on hold, you can see I've double knit. In my double knitting, since I don't want the mittens to like come apart at all, I want them to stay together and not to be like moving around. Sometimes I have like switched which side of the yarn is for which one, so they're like joined together in certain spots. So anyway, I have picked up just the inside mitten, just the inside layer that's plain stockinette, so that it lies smoothly against your palms. I have picked that up, and I am following, the pattern has a chart for the thumb, which is good. So I'm just knitting the thumbs separately because I can follow the chart pretty easily. It's a free pattern. Unfortunately, it's in Finnish. We'll talk about that when I actually do another podcast, but I am just following the left thumb chart, or I should be looking at it. There it is. So I knit 12 rows, and then I do a decrease row, and then I knit 3 rows, and then I decrease every other row until the thumb is done. So I'm just pretending the chart is like just a stockinette chart, and it's telling me when to do the decreases. It works totally fine for the other thumb. It does help if you sit and knit the thumbs in like one session in one day, which is probably the best way to knit a thumb anyway, so you don't get confused. So right now I'm just chilling, knitting my stockinette thumb, doing the easy one first, unfortunately, and then the other one I have to make sure I like line up how I pick up with the pattern, because the actual pattern has to be in pattern. Unfortunately, I don't know if you know this, but when you knit from a pattern, you have to stay in pattern. You wouldn't know it from this part of my mittens because I did not stay in pattern. I made a lot of mistakes and I just didn't stop to fix them. I just persevered, and then I started the decreases knowingly in the wrong spot. And so I had to change like where in the pattern I was doing the decreases as well. But that's fine. Hello. I've got a sink of hot water. I've got my phone propped up on a candle, being held in place with my toothpaste, and I am going to attempt to felt by hand just the hand and thumb parts of these double layered Blue Sky Fibers light gray mittens in a Finnish pattern that I read the chart for and translated, like by running the like suggested like web page translation on it, but I still couldn't read like some of the instructions on some of the charts, and I don't speak Finnish, but I made them, and since I decided to double knit them and then my gauge was a little loose, they're too big, and so we're just gonna jump in because I'm scared. This isn't gonna be so bad, is it? This isn't gonna be so bad. I can felt things. This is kind of fun. So far, this is fun. I just have to make sure I felt them equally and that I don't do too much. We just want to do a little felting. I don't know what I'm doing, but they said to also turn them inside out, so we're going to do that. Yeah, maybe it'll be easier to felt from the non-pattern side. The pattern I worked so hard on is already gone, you guys. Have I ruined these? Oh my goodness. I want them to be, okay. What we learned from the previous iteration of the mittens is that we're going for function and durability, long-lastingness, over style. So we've got a little bit of the style still there, and I think it's going to be better when they dry, but I need these to be warm and not to snag on things and not to get ruined. And the felting is going to do that for us. It really is. It really would have been better if I just done less of the pattern. You know what? I could take some of the leftover yarn and like embroider more of a pattern on it, actually. That might be fun. Alright, so this is what they looked like after they dried on the heating vent in my bedroom for a couple days. They took a while to dry, but that was fine.
and I filmed them so you could see that like the cables on the thumbs are still visible and the pattern in general is still visible, even though I had really low lighting when I filmed this. So I filmed them really fast because I believed I was going to give them to my mother-in-law, and I went to give them to her, and she and I agreed that they were still a little bit big and that I was going to felt them a little more for her. So then I brought them home, and I got my detergent back out, got my hot water back out. I felted them a bit more another time. That's the inside of the mittens. And so after this video, I did another round of felting, and then here are the results of that. This is the fully, you can see they're a lot more felted the second time, but you can still see the pattern. There's no more holes in it, and they are actually a way closer fit on her hands. And yeah. So overall, I did get the result that I wanted, and my mother-in-law is really happy with them. I probably shouldn't have spent so long double knitting this really pretty pattern at the wrong gauge and then felting it. But you know, you live and you learn, I guess.